Good Sunday evening, everyone, and welcome to Bowling with the Pfeff, a platform for you to share your unique bowling story. It's all live here on the YouTube channel, and we are just happy to have you along on a night when we normally don't do live streams, but we're kind of coming at you in a different way, and I'm curious to find out what those of you who are tuning in maybe regularly and have seen us on different nights think of the Sunday night format. If you like this night or weeknights better, let us know. We have a public Facebook group. Just search Bowling with the Pfeff and you'll find us. You can also email me, bowlingwiththepfeff@yahoo.com, or just direct message me on Facebook. My name is Andrew Pfeffer, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show. And if you're interested in coming on, we're always looking for guests, so please let me know. Anybody is welcome, regardless of skill level. If you love bowling and have a great, unique story to tell, which, hey, we all do, feel free. Let me know, and we would love to have you on. As you know, if you've been watching the show the last several weeks, we've been focusing on the return of the PWBA with the PWBA Twin Cities Open. It's actually just 4 days away now, so we are within the week of the event. It's April 22nd through the 24th. Cedarvale Lanes in Eagan, Minnesota is the venue. And thanks to a partnership with Cedarvale and Brent Prentice, the owner there, we have been able to bring some great guests on to really get you up to speed and get you ready for the start of competition. Now, they're not allowing spectators at the event, but you can still catch the whole thing live on bowltv.com. They feature right now, they're featuring some college events. You may have seen the U.S. Open and the USBC Masters on bowltv.com. So that is the home of the PWBA Twin Cities Open. Again, later on this week, and we're really excited. Those of us here at the show and really the bowling community, both in the Twin Cities metro area in Minnesota and, let's face it, around the world for the return of PWBA competition. So let's get right to our guests. We have Amanda Vermilyea from Apple Valley, Minnesota, Verity Crawley from Florida by way of Bournemouth, Dorset, England. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to speak with you both.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of go around the horn here first and talk about how you each feel with it being so close to this first PWBA tournament really since January, and for both of you, the first PWBA tournament in years, let's face it. Amanda, why don't we start with you?
Oh man, I am so excited. It's the last event was in 2019. I mean, I know the same for Verity. I was hoping to be able to bowl the first event that was in January, but unfortunately, due to COVID and our Minnesota centers being closed, I felt like I wasn't going to be prepared. So I realized, Amanda, I think you got to wait until April just to see how things are looking, and that way, hopefully, you can be able to practice and feel more prepared for the other events that will be coming up. So I made the decision to not bowl the Arlington stops. So that's the reason why I wasn't able to bowl the January, but being able to bowl right here in Minnesota for the first stop, I am super excited and ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Verity, we've spoken with you once before. We all know that you've been looking forward to competition since before the season began. This must be a very exciting time for you right now. Oh, let me try turning your mic on. How's that?
I think we're good now.
Yeah,
okay.
That's better. No, it's my fault.
I can't believe that it's literally around the corner. So obviously, the last time I was on your podcast, I was in the UK. Now I'm back in Florida, and the tour is in a few days. I've been back in the US for 3 weeks. So I've only been bowling for 3 weeks. Obviously, bowling centers were shut in England because of COVID. So it's been a very interesting, hectic, crazy 3 weeks trying to prepare myself for what is to come. But I'm just so excited to be here and just to have the opportunity to bowl. At the beginning of the year, I thought that I might not have been able to. So I think I'm just very grateful the fact that I will be able to be there next week.
Yeah. This is an incredibly exciting time for bowling. Not only do you have the PWBA returning, you've got colleges vying for a spot in the national tournament, the USBC Collegiate National Tournament, both on the men's and the women's side. We just had the NCAA championships for the women. Both of your alma maters have made some noise in these college tournaments. Amanda, you went to Nebraska, and as the entire bowling community knows, Nebraska won yet another NCAA tournament title. How does that feel for you, who really did so much in bowling in that university?
It was very, very exciting to see them win another national championship. I mean, it's been a little while since they have, and I know this is huge for the university and for the athletic department. So I am super excited and very happy for Coach Klempa and for Shannon for winning a national championship. So yes, yeah. I'm very, very excited for them.
Sure. Verity, Weber International also making some noise. The women are in a sectional right now, as far as I could tell. The men, I had heard, hadn't made it to the ITCs. That's got to be exciting for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, since I've been back in Florida, I'm training at the Kegel Training Center, and that's where Weber trains. So I get to see I don't want to call them kids because I'm so close to their age, really, but I get to see the athletes day in and day out competing. And, I see the work that they put in, and I start to kind of see them develop, even though it's only really been 3 weeks. But I've been able to see the excitement leading up to sectionals and the stress, of course. And obviously this year is so different. There's a different amount of games, and not every team, not every school had the opportunity to compete this year. So it's definitely a different year, but I'm excited for them. And I think that just the fact that they got to have some form of events this year and still got the opportunity to go to sectionals with the, end goal of making it to nationals, I think is fantastic that USBC were able to actually pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about kind of leading up to the PWBA event. And Amanda, I want to start with you. Have you heard from colleagues, from other PWBA bowlers, from people maybe that you're bowling with in the Twin Cities about, either wishing you luck or, asking you about the PWBA coming up?
I've heard from many people, like people around here in Minnesota, that are very, very excited, like for me. And I mean, a lot of them have actually asked me, like, are they able to have spectators? Because I mean, I know that being here in Minnesota and being able to bowl in the Twin Cities Open, I know that they wanted to be there to cheer me on. But what I tell them, make sure to tune in to Bowl TV. I mean, you can watch from there. You make sure, you can watch every single game from Bowl TV. So I mean, you're not gonna be able to miss anything. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be able to have spectators, but I always let them know. I mean, just tune in and you can watch the competition from there. And but I am very lucky that I have such wonderful people that are behind me, and that have been wishing me luck and are very excited for me being able to be out there and compete, and knowing that what kind of health struggles that I've had this past year, and knowing that I'm out there and trying to achieve my goal of winning that first PWBA title. So.
Yeah. Now, I would ask you, Verity, the same question, but I know that you've had some support because I've seen on social media that on Friday, one of your pals, Diana Zavjalova, I hope I pronounced that correctly, said that she is declaring today, Friday, National Verity Crawley Day, and had some pretty compelling reasons why, among them that you're wearing her shirt, but also that you're the hardest working person that she knows, and other than her, of course, and you have the best physical game in bowling. That's pretty flattering, no?
I think you should just say the accent. That's the only one that was true.
Well,
but no, it is flattering. I surprised her. I had got one of her new signature apparel t-shirts from Coolwick, and she had no idea. And I just sent her a picture of me wearing it on Friday, and she was so happy because she just wasn't expecting it. And then she made that post. So that was really nice.
I'm glad you brought up the accent part, because just in case she happens to see this, to humor her, and this, nothing for us, but to humor Diana.
Yes.
Would you mind saying the following words?
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You sure?
I think so.
Okay. Water, tomato, status, and sheeps.
Okay.
Wasn't
At
that
least,
fantastic?
at least that way we're covered. Now, if she sees it, I mean, she won't accuse me of, neglecting my duty to ask, pressing questions like that,
And
right?
hopefully everyone will be happy now because they'll understand, why she likes me saying those words.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Amanda, you recently shot a 300 game at Minnesota Women's State, and I had said that was at Bolero Blaine. It was actually Bolero Brooklyn Park, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Yes.
I don't want to get it wrong twice. That must have been awesome to be in that team environment and have such a big game, not only individually but your team as well.
It was. That was having my team behind me, rooted me on. Actually, that game we shot a state record, and then my teammate Trista Kimmis had the front nine that was right behind me. So I shot 300, and then she had to go for a 300 as well. But unfortunately, she shot 277. But it ended up that, we had a state record, and then that ended up being second nationally for that second game, which we had no clue. But it was quite exciting to hear that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And what better timing than, right before this big PWBA tour stop. But of course, you don't get to, the PWBA tour or shooting 300s in, state competition without years and years of practice, developing your game, and it has to start somewhere. So let's talk about your bowling story and where and when and under what circumstances did you start bowling?
I started bowling when I was around 7 years old. My dad basically got me started. Then I also had a great coach. His name is Dave Hansen. Those two really helped me with my fundamentals. They basically couldn't drag me out of the bowling center. I wanted to be in the bowling center every single day. And I could literally bowl probably 15, 20 games. I never got tired. And it was, literally it was hard for them to take me out. I won my very first youth tournament when I was 9. It was a PWBA. It was actually a professional ladies tour pro-am. It was a 9-pin no tap tournament. I remember bowling actually with Leanne Hosenberg and Kim Terrell Kearney. And I remember I actually beat them. And I remember Leanne's look like, who is this girl? And ever since then, we've been the closest of friends. And just ever since winning that tournament, that really gave me the drive to become better. And I knew growing up, I wanted to be a professional bowler. I just loved what they did. I loved how those ladies worked. And ever since then, I wanted to win a women's tour title. So that was my top goal ever since I was a little girl. And that's what I dream of today. And I even have dreams at night winning that title. So I can't wait to get that, just to get there. So that's what I want. And so that's basically where I've started. And I thank my dad and my coach, Dave Hansen, for teaching me how to bowl and giving me the fundamentals that I have today. Sure.
We have to talk, we can't talk about your early bowling without bringing up MJBT, Minnesota Junior Bowlers Tour. You are the #1 female points earner and scholarship money earner with more than $14,000, far and away #1 in MJBT history. So you got to tell me, what made you so successful on that tour?
I thank my being able to practice as much as I did. So I thank my parents for allowing me to go practice every single day, and bringing me to all the different other tournaments around the country, just giving me that experience. I mean, I also learned that I can't win every tournament. So when I did win that tournament, I made sure to learn something from that tournament to be able to work on. So that made me a better bowler and also a better person. And I also learned about sportsmanship and just learning how to lose. That was also very big. So that overall just made me a great competitor and a great person, in my opinion. So, yep.
Yeah. You, were on that tour under Chris Gammick's leadership, and he's no longer with us. But I did ask Darren Hansen, who is running the tour right now, about really your legacy in the tour and the things that you've done since then. He did mention that you were there when Chris was the director. However, when he took over, he started an MJBT Hall of Fame, and you were part of the second induction group. He said that you believe in yourself and that you're very competitive on the lanes. Your story is one that is proof of hard work, and never giving up on your dream does truly pay off. He says, as competitive as you are on the lanes, you're just as great off the lanes. You're the embodiment of Minnesota nice, always smiling, always happy, and it's quite inspiring. And that the sport of bowling is better with you on the lanes. And
Aw.
with this, I have a question that can actually go to both of you because, I agree. You are both very nice people, but on the lanes, you kind of need that killer instinct. You kind of need to get out there and think, you know what? I'm going to beat anybody who comes in my path. I'm going to focus on winning and not making friends. Let's go. So how do you turn off the niceness and turn on the killer instinct?
For me, I think it's just an automatic switch. Like as soon as you stand on those lanes, you want to win. So there's not really a specific thing that I think to myself, oh, okay, Verity, it's time to stop being nice. Like when I'm on the lanes, like I don't speak to people, I don't high five people. Like I'm probably seen as being not very nice because I'm just kind of in my own little bubble. And that's kind of how I've always been. I'm very quiet in that aspect, but I feel like I'm so driven inside of me, and I'm not always the most emotional on the lanes. Like obviously you see a lot of people that slap it out and kind of get really emotional, whereas I'm kind of not really the person to do that. But I don't know, it's like that fire inside of me that just starts to light as soon as I step on the approach, and I don't really care about anyone else at that point.
Yeah. Amanda, again, how about from your perspective? And I should probably ask you to react to that stuff that Darren said too. I kind of
That's so sweet. That was really sweet of what Darren said. Yeah, I'll have to thank him later for that. Yeah. So basically when I get on the lanes, I basically just focus on myself, and it's basically between me and the pins, really. I do my pre-shot routine, which is I have a rosin bag. And then I just focus on making good shots. I mean, I can't control what anybody else does. So, when I'm not bowling, yes, I care about, I am a nice, I try to be a nice person. I do. but yeah, when I'm bowling, I focus on myself, and I just try to make the best shot I can. And then I do my pre-shot routine, and I try to stay focused.
Sure. As I mentioned before, you went to Nebraska, and that came kind of, if I got my order of events right, after MJBT. But tell me, did Nebraska come after you, or was it the other way around?
Nebraska came after me. I was the #1 high school recruit in the country. Basically, for me, I had to choose between Wichita and Nebraska. It was a very hard decision because Wichita is also a very, very good bowling university. But what did it for me was I visited the athletic department at Nebraska, and then the university itself. I just had to basically think, okay, what's going to be best for me, and what's going to help me just to get through college? Because for me, just school didn't come easy for me. And I just saw what was there in the athletic department, and like all the tutors and all of that. I'm like, I think this is what's going to be able to help me. And it was a no-brainer for me. And that's the reason why I went to Nebraska. And just seeing the overall what they had, it was just outstanding and amazing. So that's the biggest reason why I went there.
Sure. They had a long history of success, of course, before you got there. And you added to that with the first NCAA title, following it up the next year. What was it like to have that kind of success, in that window of time where you were there?
Yeah, that's another big reason I went there, is knowing that they were an NCAA school and bowling was going to be an NCAA a sport. And then when I first started, had the opportunity to possibly win an NCAA title. So when we actually accomplished that was just an amazing feat. And I knew that we had a great chance, because seeing who was on our team, and we had Shannon Pluhowski, who was one of the best collegiate bowlers in the country. And then also seeing, like, we had Adrienne Miller, who was also a freshman at the time with me. I mean, and then Carla Eng and Jamie Martin, and our team was phenomenal. I mean, we had just an amazing shot of winning that title, and once we did, I mean, it was so exciting, and lot of great memories. And then going back to back titles in 2005 as well. Yeah, it's super exciting, and something I'll never ever forget.
Yeah. From there, you did Team USA. You had done Junior Team USA and Team USA. What was that like for you?
Being able to compete being able to bowl for my country was something that I've always wanted to do. Also, as a youth bowler, I wrote that down in my goals. Because actually, when I was about 9 years old, it was actually after I won my first youth tournament. My coach Dave Hansen said, "Amanda, we need to figure out what you want to do as a bowler." So I remember sitting in this pizza restaurant at that time. It was called Rinaldi's, and I actually wrote it down on a napkin. And he asked me, "Amanda, do you want to bowl for college?" And I said, "Yes." "Do you want to win a title in college?" I'm like, "Oh, of course. That's the reason why I want to go bowl for college." So, I mean, we had like these different steps. And then he says, "What about like Team USA?" Because I've heard about Team USA. I said, he had to kind of explain like what that would be like. And I said, "Oh, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. Be able to bowl, like travel around the world and be able to compete for your country. That's something that somebody could dream about." I mean, yes, of course. And then being able to achieve that goal was awesome, because I'd be able to check these little things off my goal list. So yes, yeah. So being able to do it 4 times for the adult team and 4 times for the junior team was something I never thought that I was going to do as a little girl, but I did. So yes,
absolutely. You mentioned kind of off the top that you faced a lot of health challenges in your career. We talk a lot about overcoming adversity on this show, because everybody has successes, they have failures, they overcome things, but a lot of us are not going to go through the same challenges that you go through, really on any front, let alone your health. How have you been able to overcome that adversity in your bowling and your life?
Well, it's been hard. I've had a lot of surgeries, but the one thing that has kept me going is the love of the sport of bowling. I've met such wonderful people, and I don't want to give up on it. I don't. So I always find a way to keep doing it, and I to keep achieving these goals. I want to win that title. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep bowling. I'm going to keep going until I get that title. So, no matter what, I'm going to be out there. I mean, yes, I've had spine surgery. I've had a spine surgery. I've had basically 3 brain surgeries, and I'm just going to keep going. So I'm always going to be there. So
absolutely.
I was going to find a way.
Yeah. Sound familiar, Verity?
No, because my struggles are nothing like mine in retrospect to hers is like a tiny speck. Like I was grateful to be home and surrounded by family, and as much as it was a situation I wasn't really expecting. I think it was a blessing in disguise, and everything happens for a reason. I'm back now. I still get to bowl the tour, and it all worked out. So
Yeah,
it's great.
No, I was talking about the I'm gonna be out there. I want nothing more than to bowl.
Okay, then yes, 100% agree with that. I will keep going and going. Even once I get that first one, it's going to be there's always going to be something next coming for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. When we left off, you had just arrived in England, not really knowing what was going to happen from that point, and would you be able to bowl there? Would you be able to come back here? What was it like to go through that series of months, really, in England?
It was really strange, and I think it was strange because everything was shut. So I obviously left Florida bowling every single weekend, and I was bowling so many sweepers during the week. Like, there was a time in July that I bowled 5 days a week tournaments, and to leave that to go home, and literally everything was shut apart from a supermarket, and there was a few takeaways were open, and you could get a coffee from a takeaway, but you couldn't sit in and things like that. So that whole side of things was strange. And then I had the fact that I couldn't bowl. Like, I've never had bowling taken away from me. It's always been something that I've just always done. And it's not been something that, there's those days, okay, maybe I don't want to go practice, and you don't go bowl, but that's your own decision. Whereas I wasn't allowed to go bowl. And I tried to contact as many people as I could to see if I could somehow get into a bowling center. The UK did have a kind of amendment to their rule to where elite athletes were allowed to train. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to do it. And I was very hopeful for a period of time that because they had that, don't remember what it was called, but because they had that and a lot of professional athletes were able to train, I'm like, I'm going to be able to bowl. And I got so excited. And then I found out that because bowling wasn't a Commonwealth or Olympic sport, I wasn't actually classified within that group to be able to train. So it just couldn't happen. And all of the bowling centers, unfortunately, all of their staff had been furloughed. So there still wasn't even any way for me to sneak into a bowling center. So that was obviously very weird. I mean, I was home for nearly 3 months. It was 76 days, not that it counted or anything. And I didn't bowl. So that to me was the hardest part, was knowing how close the tour was and knowing that I couldn't really do much to prepare apart from to work on my fitness and to try and do as much bowling at home as I could. So it was definitely difficult, but in the grand scheme of things, obviously it did work out okay. I didn't actually end up getting the visa that I planned to get. So I was applying for the visa that got denied, I was going to reapply for, and I have reapplied for. However, I won't hear back about that visa probably until June. So what I ended up doing, with thanks actually to the bowling community, I think if I hadn't posted about it and hadn't have had so many messages, I don't think what happened would have happened. So I'm very grateful for that. I ended up applying for a tourist visa, which I was originally told I wouldn't get. So previously, speaking to lawyers, when I first got home, I'm like, is there any way I can get this tourist visa and I can go back and compete on tour in January? That was kind of my first thought. What if I go home for a day and then I come back? Like, will that work? And they told me that I wouldn't get this visa approved. And it's literally a regular, it's not really a visa. I mean, it is, but if you were to come from the UK and you were to come on holiday in Florida and go to Disney World, you would have to apply for it. And it's normally very simple and very easy to get. But because I had a denial, I was told I wouldn't get it approved. And then the other issue was because of COVID, they weren't issuing them because you weren't or even so, you're not allowed to enter the US right now on that visa because they have put bans in place for travel. So that was kind of a whole other situation, but it worked out that through some contacts, I was able to get it approved. And thankfully, I was very stressed, like maybe I'll get to the US and they're not going to let me back in. And I was freaking out a little bit because there's a lot of stories where that happens. You can literally fly to the country, you meet immigration, and they don't let you in. So I was a little bit, apprehensive that was going to happen, but I think I just stressed out for no reason because it ended up going very smoothly.
Yeah. Amanda, both of you, obviously, you have different journeys through this, but you both end up in a place where you are going to bowl in the PWBA. When when did you realize that, and what did it feel like to have a clear direction to the PWBA after some time, really? Oh,
Once I heard that the tour was a go, like the April stop was going to happen, I'm like, all right, Amanda, let's go. Let's get out there and practice, get strong. And I made sure to get out walking and just try to just get as strong as I possibly could. The other thing is too, I mean, there was one tournament, one weekend where I was bowling both Saturday and Sunday, and I realized Sunday I was tired. I'm like, oh man, this isn't good. This isn't good for the tour. You got to make sure you got to get strong. You got to get that stamina up. So I worked on that, and actually last weekend after bowling the women's state tournament, I bowled both Saturday and Sunday, a lot of games, and I wasn't tired of them. And I was when Monday came, I'm like, I was good. My hand wasn't hurting, and I'm like, I could have kept bowling more and more and more. I'm like, okay, we are good to go. So I'm feeling good, and I'm ready to go, and I'm just happy that I realized that one weekend where I was tired, that I needed to work on my stamina and just to be able to get stronger.
Sure. Verity, you it seems to me, were in kind of a race because you had that small window of time to prepare after not bowling for those months. What did you do?
So obviously when I was in England, I had no idea when I would be coming back. So my biggest thing when I was home was I need to get as fit as possible, because that's literally all I can do right now. Like, I couldn't go to a gym, but I was at home. So that was my biggest thing when I was at home. I was like, if I've got all of this time that I don't normally have and I can't be on the lanes, then I need to put that effort and energy into elsewhere. So I really, really focused on working out when I was home. And then as soon as I knew that I was going to be coming back, one, I didn't really believe it until I was fully in the US. Like, I refused to book any PWBA travel or anything until I had stepped foot on US soil and they let me in the country, because I was so unsure, like something could have still gone wrong. But then, yeah, I've had 3 weeks, 3 weeks tomorrow, really, since I started practicing again. And I think the best thing I did was try to create a clear kind of path and goal as to what I was going to do each week. I knew that it was going to be really difficult getting back into things. And based off the last lockdown that we had last year and the way I kind of got out of that, I really took that as a learning experience to decide how I was going to prepare this time round. And I think that helped me a lot. I definitely felt a lot better than I thought I was going to feel. That first week, I was genuinely expecting to throw the ball backwards, to have a bleeding thumb. And I think I set my expectations so low that it was actually quite easy to surpass them. But for me, it was just more about the mentality of realizing that I'm probably not going to feel very good. I'm not going to be sharp. And, I'm probably not going to be able to hit lines. I'm not going to be able to increase my speed, decrease my speed, all of the normal things that I used to be able to do. I had to have that realization that I wouldn't be able to do them, because otherwise I knew that I would just beat myself up too much and the practices would be 10 times worse than they should have been. So I'm very lucky that it kind of has somewhat fallen into place. I'm still definitely not as sharp as I would like to be going into the PWBA tour, but I just, it is what it is. I've got what I've got at this point, and I just have to have that confidence that I'm going to still be able to go out there and compete against everyone. So
Sure. I noticed a post on social media. I'm not sure if it was your account, but you were practicing with John Janowitz of Kegel. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, what do you think? He said, as far as Verity goes, it's always wonderful to practice with her. We started doing this around July and August of last year on different patterns, breaking them down, discussing strategies, et cetera, et cetera. He said that he thinks that you'll be prepared as. Oh, I think we lost Amanda.
Hopefully her connection wasn't very good, so hopefully
she can jump back in. John said that he thinks that you'll be as prepared of any of the ladies in Minnesota, that you've been getting in games since you've been back to get yourself physically back to where you were before your hiatus. But he has no doubt in his mind that you'll have an amazing year on tour, and that you've made a lot of great strides in your game over the pandemic, and that he's looking forward to seeing the results of your hard work. So can you elaborate on that? What in your game is either different or improved now than before the pandemic?
It's really hard to just pinpoint one thing. I am very thankful for John, and the amount of time he has put into helping me is ridiculous. I spent a lot of time with him the back half of the last year preparing. Obviously, the back end of last year, I was preparing to bowl the tour in January. I was planning to be there. I sacrificed not going home at Christmas so I could go compete, and I spent a lot of time on the lanes with him. And I think that has been literally such a big influence in how I compete right now, and just my mindset and the knowledge. I think that's the biggest thing. Is I know that I've got a good physical game. It took me a long time to realize that, but I finally got that realization. And now it's more about understanding the bowling balls, the ball motion. That's the aspect that I used to second guess myself a lot on. I never used to trust my decisions. And I think being able to train with him, talk things through, learn more about, the oil and the lane machines, and just having so much more information, I think has really helped me. I've worked a lot on my mental game as well, because I know that the end of 2019's PWBA tour, I was not very good mentally. So that was a big thing that I felt like I needed to work on. It was, Verity, you don't need to work so much on physical, but you need to now focus on all of these other things that maybe sometimes kind of got put to the back burner, because I always felt like I needed to work on my physical game. So yeah, probably, but working with him has definitely developed my game a lot. And I just think that I'm smarter now, and I just trust myself a little bit more. Like, as long as I can go with my gut, I'm going to make a better shot if I trust my gut than anything. But previously it was kind of like, well, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. Which one shall I do? I'm not really sure. And then whatever you decide to do, you don't fully commit to. Whereas now it's, I have that gut feeling of, okay, you need to do this, commit to it. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. So yeah, I've definitely learned a lot within a short period of time.
Yeah. Having that vote of confidence from somebody like John, how big a deal is that for you going into this?
It's really nice. I mean, he's been so supportive. And just, I think obviously he sees what I do on a daily basis. There's not a lot of people that necessarily get to see that. So I think just knowing that he believes in me makes me believe in myself even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a few questions for both of you to answer. Both of you, the common denominator here is that you both have significant others in bowling. Amanda, your husband bowled for Nebraska and Team USA like you did. Verity, your boyfriend finished 8th in the South region of the PBA Players Championship.
I'm sure it wasn't PWBA.
I'm positive, and if you ask him, I'm sure he'll tell you the same. But how do these two factor into your bowling? And let's start with Amanda. How does Eric factor into your bowling? Does he coach you Do you rely on him for certain things? Nope. I think she might be frozen again.
Yeah, she's frozen on my end.
Yeah.
It's like she's talking, but I don't have any sound.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Nope.
All right, let's try and go back to Amanda in a second here. Amanda, maybe you want to check your connection. Verity, what about on your end? Does your boyfriend coach? Do you lean on him for any type of I guess tangible support in the bowling?
Yeah,
lane?
100%. So he also actually works for Kegel. So he has a ton of knowledge as well. So he's definitely a huge resource.
Eric is amazing. Yep, he actually helps with drilling my bowling balls right now. He's great with layouts. He's super knowledgeable with bowling balls and all of that. Like, oh.
Okay, so we
it's technology.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. 2021
Sorry.
is gonna 2021, you know? Okay. Verity, why don't you continue then?
Yeah, so Christus works at Kegel. I feel like he knows my game better than I know my game sometimes. He drills my bowling balls, knows my arsenal better than I know my arsenal probably. So I'm really thankful for his support. He obviously watches me bowl a lot. So that's also been very helpful with me being back. Like last week, I was trying to increase my speed and I just couldn't do it. And he's like, Verity, just do this. And it was just like this magic trick that came out of nowhere that he just fixed things. But yeah, he's definitely really helpful, even someone just to bounce ideas off of. And we bowl a lot of tournaments together, which is great because he drives and I hate driving. So that's also fantastic. But no, he's a very good bowler as well. He's very competitive. So we go to tournaments together. And if there's ever a doubles tournament locally, we'll always bowl together too. And we've been very successful. Our last 2 events as doubles we've won. So yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, he's been very supportive and he just has so much knowledge. So for me, it's always great to pick his brain and take advantage of that. I just wish that sometimes it sunk in a little bit more and I could remember everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping we can get Amanda back in the fold here. In the meantime, tell me, do you think that you're better for what happened? And I mean, obviously the visa thing is out of your control. The rules are what they are. But, overcoming adversity is a powerful thing. And we often talk about athletes, in their ability to overcome adversity, made them better in certain people's eyes than just their performance on paper. Do you feel like, like you're better for this, really kind of roadblock that you've overcome?
I think so. Yeah, I think everyone's always going to go through struggles. And I think that it was kind of just a part of my journey and dealing with it is only going to make me stronger. I think I'm very happy in a way that it happened. It meant I got 3 months with my family that I hadn't seen in a very long time. So yeah, it makes me emotional talking about it because it was, it was hard to not see them for so long. And then I literally got 3 months with them out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Amanda, looks like we've got you back now.
Let's try. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that seems a little better now.
Sorry. We have a storm going on here in Minnesota, so I think
no.
it was. Yeah, I think that's why I lost my connection. So I apologize.
I hope it's gone by Wednesday.
Yeah, no kidding. You were saying we caught some of that about how Eric kind of factors into your bowling. You said that he helps you drill bowling balls.
Yes, he drills my bowling balls. He helps with my layouts and all of that. He's just super knowledgeable with bowling balls. Um, Basically, he was a district sales manager a few years ago for what was Ebonite International on the West Coast. So he's very, very knowledgeable in the bowling community. He knows my game. He's known me since I was a kid, basically. I known him since I was like 10 years old. So um, yeah, we started out as friends and we started dating when I was 16. So yeah, I'm basically what Eric says, basically forever. So yeah.
Yeah. I had just asked Verity about, kind of not having control over the visa situation, but she was able to, kind of get past that roadblock. You have also been dealt, we talked about the health issues, things that are really out of your control. Do you feel like you are better for it, that you're better in bowling in life because of having overcome what you have?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I am basically, yeah, because I can't control with what happened. I mean, I can't control that I was born with a condition called Klippel-Feil syndrome. I can't control that I have a brain tumor. I just go day by day, and I just enjoy and I enjoy bowling. I go have fun. I'm just gonna enjoy go out and competing and do the best I can, and also enjoy meeting new people while I'm doing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Verity, let's talk about the future. What does it look like for you, and what kind of goals do you have in bowling in the near term?
I hate that word because I have no idea. All I want to do is bowl. That's my answer. I have big hopes and aspirations. My biggest dream since I've been a kid is to be a world champion on the lanes. That's kind of been something ever since I was younger, and I bowled for Team England. That's something I've always wanted to do. So that's kind of my biggest goal. But genuinely, where it goes from here, I don't know. I just want to continue bowling and continue loving the sport. I do want to compete some more internationally. I would love to go to Asia and Europe and just literally bowl everything I can.
Yeah. Amanda, how about you? I mean, you talked about how important it is to you to win that PWBA tournament. Where do you kind of go from here after the Twin Cities Open?
Well, I'm gonna bowl the next 3 stops after that, and I also have a full-time job as a senior administrative assistant at Prime Therapeutics. I'm a wife and a mom to little PJ. He's not so little anymore, I guess. He's 8.5. I can't forget the half part, or else he'll yell at me. But yeah, I love being a mom. I love being a wife. So that keeps me busy. Like this weekend, I went and watched PJ bowl in a state youth tournament. So it's cool that he's getting into bowling himself. So I'm gonna really enjoy doing that and being able to watch him grow up and be able to bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into what we call the foundation frame. We've got a couple comments from some folks. Lyndon says, "Good morning from Australia." Lyndon actually had messaged us last time around and said good morning, but I think we were on majorly different times, and I'm glad that you pointed out that you're in Australia because we kind of said it isn't morning here, but
Hi, Lyndon.
yeah, it certainly is where he is. Cedarvale guy, Brent Prentice, the owner of Cedarvale Lanes, says, "Hello, you wonderful ladies. See you Thursday, if not before."
I'm gonna come see him on Wednesday. I decided.
Okay. All right. And Amanda, you're basically right next door.
Oh yeah, I am. I
Yeah.
see Brent all the time. Brent is the best.
Yeah, he really is, and and thanks again to him, for arranging for these guests that we've had for the tournament. It's really been awesome for me as a fan of the sport, and I'm sure for our viewers as well. Amanda, I want to ask you to go off the sheet with us, and that's where we ask you to challenge somebody else to appear on the program. And skill level is kind of irrelevant. We cater to all skill levels. But somebody who's passionate about the sport and has a great, unique story to tell. So, Amanda Vermilyea, who would you like to challenge to be on Bowling with the Fef?
That is very easy. That is my Lucy doubles partner, Tom Smallwood.
Okay. And why Tom?
I thought you were going to pick your husband. Sorry.
Oh.
But I thought Eric was going to be the answer.
No, he would be really, really good as well. But I think Tom Small would be a great story just because of him. Well, he's going to have a show supposedly on TV. And being on the PBA tour, I think he'd be a great person to be on this show. But my husband could also be a good choice too.
I love that. The hard sell, the pressure. I think maybe we might get both of them on it at one point or another. And Verity, I did want to mention that, the last time you were on, you challenged Hosan to be on. I didn't let that fall by the wayside. I did, kind of call him out, but we were in a private Facebook group back then. Now we've expanded to, kind of the public space. So, Hosan may not have seen this post back then. He
definitely did.
Oh, he did?
Because he was watching. So he did hear it. He's one of I have like a online subscription, and he's one guy that is part of that, and I coach him virtually. So he knows about it. I think he was just a little bit too scared.
A little shy? Okay. That's all right. That's all right. In lieu of Hosan coming on, do you have anybody else you might like to challenge?
I'm challenging Eric.
I love it. How come?
Why not? I don't know. I just feel like we spoke to Amanda, and it would be so cool to hear his story. I know that he's obviously got a lot of experience within the bowling world, as well as being a good bowler himself. So I feel like when you put those two together, there is so much to talk about and so many stories and just so much to learn.
Yeah. And there's an easy link here. Amanda can just, yell across the house and say,
could do that. Yep.
Exactly. I remember, seeing Eric dominating the MJBT as well. I mean, I bowled in it a little before him, and I was donating to guys like Brent Prentice and Pat Humphrey. I'm sure if I was a little younger, I'd be donating to him. But he had an incredible career in MJBT as well. And I'm sure he'd have an interesting story to tell. But ladies, I'm really excited to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck to both of you at the Twin Cities Open and beyond.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, and thanks for continuing to do this podcast. I'm glad that you've continued with it.
You betcha. Yeah, we'll keep going. As long as people keep watching, we'll keep going. And again, if you want to see Verity or Amanda or any of the other PWBA stars later this week, you can see the Twin Cities Open and other events on bowltv.com. Ladies, again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And thank you for joining us here on Bowling with the Fef. We do have another live stream coming up on Monday, April 26th. I don't want to say it's our next live stream because we may fit one in between now and then, but you can count on us being live on Monday, April 26th here on the YouTube channel. Until then, be just and fear not. And we hope you have a great weekend. Thanks again for joining us, everyone.